There's a clip from last night highlighting the double standards at play here, and I just want to run it through. David Cameron, this is him speaking. Iran attacking Israel was reckless, the journalist. What would Britain do if our consulate was flattened? David Cameron. Oh, we would take very strong action. The West are already hypocrites on this, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think an increasing number of observers who are getting more engaged with foreign policy are raising questions about the double standards of human rights and international law, and that might be seen as concerning to some. I think there are real concerns about what's happening. What the ICJ has called plausible genocide in Gaza. And I think just to bring it back to New Zealand, I think we could be asking harder questions as well about the complicity of New Zealand in what's going on in Israel. So we should be asking the government to give guarantees that no New Zealand intelligence is contributing to what is happening in Gaza.
Well, that's right. And we don't know that, do we?
I'm not sure. I've heard, cast iron undertakings from the government to that effect. I think, as being part of the Five Eyes, we are connected to the US and to the UK, and I think we should be having debates about those connections.
That is Max Harris. Max Harris is a former advisor to John McDonnell MP, Labour MP in the UK, policy writer, academic, and author of New Zealand Project. So that's who you're hearing from there. Chewy, before we comment, I'll just go straight into that piece, because this is the piece that Bomber was setting it up with. This is the conversation with Lord Cameron, and this is him, I'm going to say showing his whole ass, but certainly stepping into a minefield of hypocrisy, and it doesn't go very well.
But what about Iran's frustration at part of its sovereign territory being flattened?
Well, I would argue there is a massive degree of difference between what Israel did in Damascus and, as I said, 301 weapons being launched by the state of Iran at the state of Israel. For the first time, a state-on-state attack. 101 ballistic missiles, 36 cruise missiles, 185 drones. That is a degree of difference. Yeah. And I think a reckless and dangerous thing for Iran to have done. And I think the whole world can see all these countries that have somehow wondered, well, what is the true nature of Iran? It's there in black and white.
What would Britain do if a hostile nation flattened one of our consulates?
Well, we would take the very strong action.
I'm just going to stroll into this one.
But what they did, as I said, was a massive attack.
So they were right to respond, but they overreacted, is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that the attack they carried out was on a very large scale, much bigger than people expected.
They have a right to respond.
Well, countries have a right to respond when they feel they've suffered an aggression. Of course they do. But look at the scale of that response. Had those weapons not been shot down,
but there
could have been thousands of casualties, including civilian casualties. I think that's a really important point to take into account.
There you go. So that was a longer clip of the clip that Bomber was talking about. And what a great point by the journalist. And this is what we've kind of been saying on some level all the way through, how actually, I won't say where, Chewy, you do what you want, but I've kind of said I'm going to stop apologising, denouncing the acts of Hamas. And it's not because I don't denounce the acts of Hamas. It's like when a left-leaning person goes on an interview, they say, do you denounce it? And the person goes, yes. But they never ask the other person, do you denounce the actions of Israel, the bombings of hospitals and stuff? And because they never ask that question, it's always set up in a lopsided way to say, sympathizers of Hamas worse, sympathizers of Israel right and proper. And it's a bit like what she did there, because she just basically flipped it to the equal and opposite. The equal and opposite of do you denounce Hamas is do you denounce Israel? She did it in front of him, and you heard the is it Elmer Fudd? Porky Pig. You heard the Porky Pig come out, and as we know from a lot of our Tory leaders, you don't mean to pig with him, but a lot of our Tory leaders seem to get that stutter when they get caught out in something, and we might see that in our own Prime Minister as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to mention pig with David Cameron.
A brave move to mention the word pig after discussing David Cameron. Look, I think any British leader discussing what he reckons should happen in the Middle East is fraught with danger, considering them and the French fucked up the entire region anyway when they just carved it up after they beat the Ottoman Empire. A lot of the issues that we have in that region stem from that, because they divided it up against religious lines. Just absolute insane behavior. They just pulled out an atlas and started drawing borders. But yes, if Russia had slammed a glide bomb into the UK embassy in Poland, what would happen? Like, realistically, what would happen? You would have the Royal Air Force staging directly out of Poland by the end of the week. Like, it'd be all on. If the US embassy in Germany got blown up, there would be a massive reaction.
Oh, in fact, we have
and I think
we've
when
got
he
evidence historically of that. It's called shock and awe. That's the American response to being attacked.
Absolutely.